Open source is not going to derail the proprietary US AI frontier labs. Absolutely not. It has zero chance of doing such. Open source hopefully can help commoditize AI to bring down prices for all of us that love using it. But there is no chance, absolutely none, that it's going to lead to the destruction of these AI frontier labs and their proprietary models. I don't know where people come up with these ideas. We only have all of history and software to look back and see that this has basically never happened in the consumer space. Right now, depending on your definition of free, there are many free operating systems available out there for people to use on their compute devices already. And guess what? Barely anybody uses them. Linux as a whole in the desktop space, laptop desktop space, if you do not include Chrome OS, is roughly 4 to 5% in the West. If you include Chrome OS, which isn't typically seen as Linux, it's Linux based, but it's not, it has like a subsystem and stuff. It's not like you're using it. It has a very heavy Google-esque layer over the top. But even with Chrome OS, it's like 8 to 9% in the West. And that's including what many people consider to not be open source versions of Linux. So within open source, there's always this talk of how open is something. So as you always get these people from the Free Software Foundation, and they're like, that isn't open enough. And so, for example, the Free Software Foundation doesn't consider Ubuntu to be open source because it has proprietary blobs for drivers, etc., etc. That's neither here or there. Let's just say it is. Open source, the reason it just does not make headway into the consumer space is because of the difficulties attached to it. So for example, what is the most popular email client in the world right now? It's Gmail, 1.8 billion users. What is the most popular consumer-facing email client? Maybe Thunderbird? I don't know. I looked it up. I can't remember which one was top. They were all really low, but I think the top one had 5 million users. 1.8 billion to 5 million. Total between all of them worldwide, including business, there's a few 100 million. And that's including business, not just consumer. Gmail, not including Apple Mail, not including Yahoo, not including every other proprietary mail system out there. Gmail on its own has 1.8 billion users. All of 1.8 of those could go and use an open source client for email. Every single one of them. But they don't. All the people that use Windows, all the people that use Mac OS, every single one of them could go and use Arch Linux. Well, they could. Could they get it running? Probably not. But they don't. We're going to talk about this today a little bit more, but I got to welcome you, of course, to Ruben Tech, where we meet at the intersection of tech and finance. Quick thing about politics, real quick. The birthright decision just landed. I was actually a little fearful of this. This is a little bit of a personal issue to me. I have a parent that was undocumented, so even though my other parent is a citizen, I always wondered, how far would this go? Besides that, of course, I didn't think it was right. And I'm glad the justices found in the right way. But yeah, I was a little relieved when I heard that. So, not because I would have been affected again. One of my parents was a citizen, 100%. But just, you never know what would be the next step then. So anyways, moving on. What is going on here with these people that are thinking this? They're honestly thinking that the average Joe, that my wife, my mother-in-law, my mom, my sister, my non-techie friends, that they're gonna go and they're gonna set up the weights and train an AI model just for them, and they're gonna run it on their hardware at home, connected to all their devices. They honestly believe this? Give me a freaking break. It's never going to happen. Ever. Never. Every single Google has 13 apps with 1 billion users. Every single one of those apps has an open source alternative that likely has millions, if maybe at the most tens of millions of users. It's just the way it works. You see, again, I said at the end of my last video, it's about convenience. The only taste that people are going to have of local AI is going to be through whoever controls their devices or the software that they use. I.e., there's like 1 million people out there right now that, without even knowing it, are experiencing local AI. Not 1 million, 1 billion. How? Chrome downloaded a small local model without them knowing. That is going to be people's exposure. They're going to use local models on their Android device. They're going to use local models on their iOS device. But it's going to be from Google. It's going to be from OpenAI. It's going to be from Anthropic. Only tech-savvy people are going to use these open source alternatives. No one else is going to bother. Absolutely not. Anyone who thinks otherwise or says otherwise, do not listen to them. They are just selling you a story. Again, all these people that say this stuff, they're typing it on their 100% closed source iPhone in the most walled garden in the world, Apple's walled garden, nothing more walled than that. Every single app in the store, they charge you 30% for, and they get to deem whether you get it or not. You cannot sideload a single app onto an iPhone unless you jailbreak it, which technically breaks the law because you don't own your device. Apple does. And you think all these people who exist in this walled garden, the most dominant platform in America for mobile, you think that they're going to be setting up their own AIs? When Apple says, for the security of our users, we can't even let them download their own app. Those are the people that the court says, yeah, you're right, Apple. We've looked at your users. They probably wouldn't know, their butt from a hole in the ground. You better protect them. Those are the people that are all going to go out and set up models. Even, let's say the weights are already set. They're going to set that up themselves. I mean, no way they're going to be able to train them, but they're just going to set it up on their own. No. It's never, ever, ever happening. Will there be open source models? Of course. There's open source models and everything right now. Will it thrive? I believe open source thrives in all these areas. Will it compete and eliminate proprietary? Absolutely not. Where has this happened? I want to know one area. Everybody who's out there for open source, I want to know what kind of hardware you're on right now. Tell me what kind of hardware. Are you all on RISC-V machines? Or are you using Apple proprietary silicone? Are you using some proprietary hardware out there? How many of you that are so open source are running open source operating systems, running open source BIOS? And give me a break. You're all hypocrites. Quit passing this nonsense on to people. You know better. You're typing it into your proprietary, completely 100% locked down iPhone. Stop telling people that open source is going to win today. It's going to save everybody. No. What open source can do is it can apply pressure to the big boys. Okay? It can absolutely apply pressure. And I hope that it does that. I hope that finally in America, we start seeing some type of price sensitivity to all of the open source development coming out of not only China, but America itself. At some point, the corporate class in America has to say, come on Anthropic, come on OpenAI, you need to lower your prices. But it's not happening. And to be fair, we just found out the Chinese, who are contributing virtually everything they make in AI to open source, are paying billions of dollars to use OpenAI, which was very disappointing for me to find out. Because understand, I want prices to come down. I want them to come down now. I want them to come down hard and fast. So many more things I want to do, and I can't do them because I don't want to spend tons and tons of money. You know, like I was thinking, I'd like to have a virtual partner to speak with me and give it a personality based on Gemini Live. I don't want to be sitting there paying $5 for every video to generate this person, you know, with the live API. And what I mean by that is there's Gemini versions, but there's a live one that has super low latency, so it allows for talking like that. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Hopefully this makes sense to you. Let me know, as usual. If you want to argue with me, I'll be in the comments down below. I'll see you down there. Take care.